What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Chat TRC, the homeowners roofing exterior podcast. Today we are going to be talking about storm damage. We've had some storms roll through the area, so we wanted to get on and talk to you, the homeowner, directly a little bit about what you can expect if your home has been damaged by storms or if you've experienced some inclement weather. Maybe you have some hail damage, maybe some shingles blew off, maybe your siding got wrecked by hail. I don't know. We're going to talk about it today, but before we do that, I just wanted to introduce myself and my partner today. First off, this is Frank. And Frank, why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself?
Hey, everybody. As Eric said, Frank Dixon here. I've been in the roofing industry for the last 5 years. And very proudly, I've been with TRC now for 3 months. Came over during the winter. I love being in the industry. I love dealing with different customers. Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different problem. I love getting to come in and diagnose their needs and find a solution for them. So I'm excited on this podcast. This is my very first time being on a podcast, so I'm excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, and as for myself, Frank is on the project management and sales side. My name is Eric. I'm the marketing manager, so I'm on the lead generation side, the messaging side. So if you follow us on socials or you kind of see anything that's put out by the company, I'm mostly in charge of that. I'm in charge of feeding the guys like Frank here to make sure that they have the chance to help as many homeowners as possible. So that's a little bit about us. And as for Total Roofing Construction, you heard Phil and Justin go over it a little bit in the first episode. We've been around for 40 years. Our founder, Greg, founded the company 40 years ago. He wanted to go to his daughter's play, and his boss basically told him that if he left for the day, he was going to get fired. So Greg pretty much said, adios, I'll go do this myself and start my own company, which pretty cool story.
Yeah,
and I think you and me both agree that the family aspect of Total Roofing really is like the coolest part about working here.
It really is. That was something big I noticed when I was talking to TRC before I decided to make the move. They put family first. You know, work is important, customers are important, but your family is always first. And my wife especially loves the aspect of that, knowing that the family is always going to come first, especially if you have children. You know, you could easily get out, help be with the kids, go to doctor's appointments. So they put family first.
Yeah, definitely. I just had my second child not too long ago. So Greg is always coming to me and being like, are you sure you need to be here? Like, just go out and do what you got to do. Go to your appointments, whatever. Like, work will always be here. So that's been a really cool aspect about that. But we're not here to talk about our families, obviously. Maybe that's a show for another day. We're here to talk about storm damage, the topic of the hour. Obviously, over the last few months, we've had some pretty strong storms kind of roll through. Everything from like tornadoes. I've been in my basement a couple times already this year. Like once at 1 a.m. when the sirens went off, and it was like, grab the baby, let's go downstairs. But obviously, it's affected a lot of people in the region, in Will County, in Lake County, and further east in Indiana. So, Frank, when it comes to storm damage, when it comes to the protection of your house, why is that such a big deal?
Well, it's such a big deal because storms can affect your home in many different ways. You could have half of your roof ripped off. You could have siding completely damaged. Or from the ground, you might think your home is completely okay, and you may not even realize you actually have hail damage that you can't see from the naked eye from the ground that has actually caused a lot of damage to your roof. And then the years to come, your roof is going to completely fail because of damages you had no idea even existed on your roof.
Yeah. So he mentioned, obviously, when you do encounter problems like this, whether it is something as, not to say as minor as hail damage, because hail damage is anything but minor, but if it's something that you can't see with the naked eye versus like you get zippering and like it rips off a whole row of your shingles or whatever, it is really important to kind of act quickly because, like you mentioned, any amount of damage to that protective barrier that is the roof of your home, really compromises the overall protection that you get from it. And like you said, you know, we have shingles that get like these 50-year warranties that can last for a long time, but realistically around here with the way things freeze and thaw, you're not getting 50 years out of those shingles. You're getting maybe 25 if you're lucky. But with the weather we have, you're not getting 25. You're getting penetration on that barrier way earlier that's degrading the overall protection. So,
Right.
Frank, let's just kind of walk through the scenario. A storm came through. I think I might have some damage. Like, what, as a homeowner, what steps should I take, like, right in the aftermath of, like, a really strong storm that comes through?
Sure. So, number one, a lot of people usually go to immediately filing a claim and calling your insurance company. That's good, but sometimes it's not needed. What I recommend is always calling your local roofing contractor. Call Total Roofing and Construction. We do free damage assessments. We come out, we inspect your property.
Mm-hmm.
We take many, many photos. Usually on each project I go inspect, I have anywhere from 100 to 200 photos. We make them very detailed, and we will come down on the ground, come inside, sit at the kitchen table with you, go over all the damages that we find. We'll show you pictures on our iPad, and go from there. We'll consult you on the next step. If that case is to file a claim, great. If you have some minor damage, let's say you have a shingle or two missing, we're going to, consult you on what you should do next. Deductibles are a big part of that not a lot of people understand.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go over all of that information with you and what the next steps would look like.
Yeah, we're touching a little bit on that insurance stuff. We won't do a deep dive into that. We'll have an episode later in the series where we touch on more in depth what you should do when handling insurance companies. Obviously, with like rising prices and stuff, it's been difficult to get insurance companies to kind of cover stuff. But again, that's a story for another day. We'll cover that. Yeah, it's really important, like you said, especially if you're going to contact said insurance company. Make sure everything's documented. We will help you document that stuff. Right. And really, us as a contractor, what I always say is, at the end of the day, everyone is in business to make money, right?
Right.
We don't want to take advantage of you in a time of that may be stressful for you, that your roof may be ripped off, your siding may be damaged. So we look at it as our job to come in and kind of educate you on your options. And
that's exactly right.
Obviously, we would love for you to go with us. We think the quality of our service speaks for itself.
Right.
But we really want to educate you on all of the avenues that you have available to you so that you can have peace of mind in a really stressful situation. I mean, I've been lucky enough to not have any significant damage on my house yet, but I freak out when like little things are wrong on my house. Like if I have a little drip in my faucet or something, I'm full blown panicking. Right. So I can't imagine what somebody's feeling when their roof is ripped off. So always call a professional if you think that you need help. And we're there to act as like a guide. And if you think you want to go with us, if you like our service, then obviously we would love to do that. Frank, let's kind of move on to like what you'd be looking for on the roof. What, in your experience, you get on the roof more than I do. Sure. What are some like common types of damage that you're looking for? Or some things that maybe if you as a homeowner wanted to get up on your own roof and look for, what would be some things that you would like identify right away?
Sure. So in this region where we live, mainly with storms, we're getting the wind and we're getting the hail. So for looking at wind, maybe you don't have missing shingles laying all over the yard. So if you're on your roof, you're inspecting it. Number one, obviously you're looking to see if you have any missing tabs, any missing shingles across your roof. And you could also have wind damage. Well, not just having missing shingles. You could have shingles that have been lifted up, they've been pulled off their nails, and now they've been set back down. From the ground, you think, oh, my roof's fine. I have no missing shingles. But then you might start to notice a zipper pattern, as Eric mentioned before, where an entire section of shingles has now been lifted, compromised, and they will start to peel up just like a sardine can and lay right back down. Number two, you'll have shingles that actually just completely lift up and bend. They'll get a crease and lay right back down. When they crease, the granules completely rub right off, and you'll have this dark crease right on the very top of the shingle line. And you can lift it, and you'll see that tar line has been completely torn, and you notice you have creases in your shingles. So just because you don't have missing shingles does not mean you do not have wind damage. Obviously, we're always looking for hail damage too. First thing I do when I'm getting on top of the roof, I'm looking at your fascia, I'm looking at any window wraps around the windows, downspouts on your gutters, inspecting your gutter pan as actually I'm getting onto the roof, as well as any soft metals I see on the roof. Easiest way to look for hail damage is looking at any of your box vents that you have along your roof. And if you do have a ridge vent, you're more than likely you have some metal around some plumbing stacks, or you've got some metal on your chimney flashing. So we're looking for hail damage, looking to see which side the hail damage came from, and also looking for any wind damage, creases, zippers, and massive granule loss.
Yeah, and that's just some of like the smaller stuff that, like Frank mentioned before, you might not see from the ground level or might not see with the naked eye. Obviously, if like a tree falls on your house,
Oh yeah.
that's easy to see. That's
A
easily
no-brainer.
spottable
You're
damage.
not really
right?
doing
Yeah.
an inspection now. You're just I'm taking pictures. Here we go. You're not having to
Yes.
look with a magnifying glass. So
Yes.
90% of our inspections, we're having to go up there and look for damage that people cannot see from the ground. And hail damage is the number one of those damages. For the most part, you're never going to see hail damage from the ground. You might notice maybe I have a lot more granules coming out of my drains on my downspouts, and you're wondering why. And a lot of times it's because the hail came down, impacted your shingle. As the rain comes, it rinses away those granules that have been compromised, leaving an exposed spot where the hail has impacted the shingle matting. Now those granules are rushing down the roof. Your gutters start to fill up with all these granules, and they're coming out your drains. So there's lots of different things we are looking for on your roof.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think that something as small as granules is a big deal, but it is. The granules are really that top layer of protection for your roof.
Right.
And tons of those like little strike zones. So if you go up on your roof and you see that your vents are like completely smoked and they're just dented, pretty good chance that there are a ton of those all over your roof.
That same hill that hit your vent hit the shingles right next to it, hit the shingles in that same vicinity, and you have hail damage more than likely.
Right. And you might think, oh, like it's relatively minor, right? But over time, those strike marks just degrade more and more and more.
Right.
And that barrier of protection, you just lose that. So,
right.
Frank, why do you think it's important to, if you're calling Total Roofing Construction or if you're calling other reputable contractor in our area, because we're realistic, we are only so big, we can't. As much as I'd love to do all the roofs in the area, but we can't. So we have to rely on our competitors to like also help. So why do you think it's important to have like a reputable contractor or somebody that you can trust to like come out and help you?
So it's very important, as Eric said, to call your local contractor. Usually when big storms come through, we have what we call storm chasers. You have companies that fly up from Florida. I've had companies from Texas. I have had companies from South Carolina. They're coming out of the woodworks. Wherever the storms are, they follow the storms around. They knock on your doors. They're leaving flyers. They're leaving you with high promises. Oh, we'll for sure get you this whole roof replaced, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. No questions asked. Oh, we'll cover your deductible. They're leaving, large promises, and most of the time they can't come deliver. Also, a lot of times they come in, if they do your roof, they bang it out, and they're gone. They're in another state. As soon as that storm's dried up, they're gone. 6 months later, a year later, 5 years later, you have a leak, you have a problem. You're never going to get a hold of them. And if you do get in touch with them, they're not driving many states across to come fix that problem. So you get no warranties, basically. They don't back up any of their warranties. And you're going with somebody who's not from your actual community. They usually don't have the best interest of you in mind.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you touched on that because, yeah, the storms definitely attract the locusts, right? And not to everybody that's working is just trying to make a living. I'm not trying to start a fight with like any of the storm chasers, but more often than not, in my experience, having talked to people, is that the storm chasers, a lot of the storm chasers are guys, like you said, from out of town. So I remember I was at the gym across the street. I was running on the treadmill. I saw a truck drive by that I'd never seen before. It had area code. Looked it up real quick. The guy was from like Ohio.
Okay.
Not the furthest away I've ever seen, but certainly you don't just get guys from Ohio out here for no reason. And they seemed like a more like not like a huge like national outfit. They were just a guy that was following people around, and sure enough on their website was storms. We deal with storms.
Right.
So yeah, those guys will roll in from out of town. They'll set up shop in some offices. They'll have a bunch of door knock guys that just go to every door. And we do find that they can be very pushy because their goal is they want you to sign a contingency that is the promise to do the work. They want you to file a claim. They want you to get that insurance money so they can get the check, do the roof, and move on because that's how they make the money.
Right.
And
you're getting in and out.
Yeah, in and out. And when you're in a situation where you have significant damage to your house or something like that, and that puts a lot of pressure on you, and they're trying to pressure you while you're already under pressure to make a decision, and you might make a decision based on something that's an overpromise or just something in the stress of the moment that you're just like, they're promising they can help me with this and fix this now.
Right.
And it might not be the best for you. I was telling you before we started shooting that my neighbor recently just got their house done, and it wasn't by us.
Right.
They were promised something. They were promised by the contractor. I went and talked to them that they could get the insurance to cover it for sure. It'd be like a free roof. They wouldn't have to pay anything. That whole story,
Right.
And if you can, that's great. That's what insurance is there for. But they were unable to deliver on that promise, and the customer ended up having to pay out of pocket. And the kind of messed up thing is, and I'm not 100% sure how insurance and retail work. I'm just the marketing guy, but he expressed that the amount that they were trying to get from the insurance was less than they ended up charging him for the retail value of the roof. So they ended up charging him more. So it's just things like that when you come up against a promise that you cannot deliver on. It's a bad customer experience, and really, like, contractors are already one of the least trusted professions in America. So when one of them makes a mistake like that, it really reflects badly on all of us.
Right.
So have you ever, and not to say that we don't go out and door knock, like when storms happen, we try to go out into our community and see if we can
we
help
want to serve
people.
and help. Absolutely.
I like to think we're not as pushy as a lot of the door knockers, though.
No, definitely not.
And then on the insurance side too, and again, we'll talk more about this on the insurance episode, you really have to be careful of that promise, because they'll do things like promise, be like, oh, we can like make it so we can like eat your deductible, or we can get you the insurance check and like do the job for less, and then you have a little bit of money left over. And not judging the way anybody does business, but that is insurance fraud. That's not, you can get in trouble for that. So as much as we would like love to make you extra money, you're technically not supposed to do that.
Right.
Based on my understanding of how the insurance works. So I would really caution you to just kind of be careful when dealing with those people. And I hate to say that if you hear something that's too good to be true, it really is, because there are a lot of times where we've been able to go on a roof and be like, oh yeah, we'll get this whole thing covered for you. And we have been able to do that. But I view us as realists.
Right.
We try to be realistic.
Definitely. There's more times than not that I'm usually telling the customer, actually, after I've inspected your roof, looked at the damage, it's not worth filing a claim. And as many times as I would love to tell you, yes, your insurance company would pay for all of this, you have to be real, because the last thing we want to do is waste your time, have you file a claim. Now you have a claim on your record. Realistically, the damage is very minor and it's underneath your deductible, and now we're a month later and still nothing's been fixed. So we want to be true and honest with you from the get-go, what could be covered, what couldn't, and we do the best that we can to represent you to the insurance company. And at the end of the day, we always tell our customers we're going to take care of you and we're going to put the ball in the insurance's court. We're going to document all of our pictures. We'll be here and happily meet the adjuster, but I cannot promise you anything. I cannot tell you what they will approve, but I will do my best to represent you the best I can and try and get the most covered for you. So that's what we try to do.
And we will, like, if the adjuster comes back and says, oh, we only want to cover like a row of shingles or whatever, if we feel like that the roofing barrier has been compromised, we will come back with a report that says, like, no, look, like, we think that significant portions of this roof are damaged. We use manufacturer specs. We have access to Xactimate, which is a tool that the insurances use to put together like how much they want to give you for when they do their adjustments. So we have tools like that at our disposal to kind of push back against because we always find that, sometimes insurance companies want to help. Sometimes we'll get stuff approved with no trouble at all. Other times we'll have to kind of fight with them because in just the kind of economic times that we're in, everybody's belts are tightening up a little bit. Insurance companies are tightening up a little bit. They don't want to necessarily pay out. They have shareholders and they want to make more money. So unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it is. Frank, from your experience, you've run a lot more roofing jobs than me. You've been in the industry longer than me. What would you say is like a typical timeline as far as like an expectation for a customer from the time we come out to like make an inspection to like the time that we fully repair their house or replace their roof or whatever the job may be?
From start to finish, as Eric said, from the initial inspection all the way to where we've filed a claim, we've had our adjustment. Sometimes you need a second adjustment. Then you're doing a supplement. Then you're actually picking out your colors, doing the fun part. Actually completing the work, it could be anywhere from 60 to 90 days through the insurance claim process.
Yeah, so we try to make it as fast as possible. Just sometimes the insurance really likes to slow things down. We have measures that we can take in the meantime to protect you. We can do emergency tarpings. Usually if we encounter something and we need to protect, like if a storm blows off shingles and like it's still raining and there's a leak and you need protection right away, we can do an emergency tarping. Usually pretty quick. I believe most of the guys or the crews have like tarps with them, or we can get tarps very quickly, very easily, and make it so that at least you have that temporary protection so that no more additional damage happens. So Frank, in your experience, again, considering that you've been in the industry longer than me, you definitely get on more roofs than me. What are some things that homeowners can do to kind of, I mean, it kind of seems like storm damage is an inevitability in our region with how volatile the storms are here. I mean, in winter, we have blizzards, we have tornadoes, like
freezing temps.
You really get
blistering heat.
Yeah, you really get every type of weather in the world probably in our region. So what are some things some homeowners should do in regards to like the maintenance or the upkeep of their home, their roof, their side? What are some things they can do to kind of prevent this as much as they possibly can?
Right. Well, number one, yearly inspections. Every time I go to a customer's home, I ask how long have they lived there, how old is their roof, and when's the last time they've had their roof looked at or inspected.
Yes.
And most of the time they don't know, or it's since the last roof was put on.
Mm-hmm.
Call us. We do free inspections. Call Total Roofing and Construction. Get your yearly inspection. I recommend doing them in the spring, March or April. That's when we get a lot of storms. And also, I always love doing a fall inspection before we go into winter.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a heavily wooded area especially, it wouldn't hurt to actually have a maintenance plan going where somebody cleans your roof off, because you get all those leaves that come off during the fall, and those just sit along your roof. They sit in your valleys, and that just holds moisture and starts eating away at the shingles underneath.
Mm-hmm.
I would do a maintenance contract, get your roof cleaned, get your roof inspected. Just on being on top of the maintenance will extend your roof way longer than most other roofs will go. Also, while you're up there and we're up there inspecting, that's when we can notice, hey, we had hail a couple weeks ago and I'm seeing hail damage everywhere. Hey,
yes,
last time I was here in October doing the inspection, they didn't have any missing shingles, but 2 of these shingles over here are curling up. I'm seeing, we can start inspecting damages, being on top of things, being proactive, and getting your roof maintained. That's the number one thing the homeowners can do is call us, get your free roof inspection, keep on top of your roof. Yep.
Yeah, I always like to think of the maintenance packages or the inspections that we offer.
Right.
It's kind of like going to your doctor every year, your primary care doctor, right? And they're able to do all the tests and make sure all your levels are good and make sure that you're healthy.
Yeah.
Same thing with your roof. A yearly maintenance plan is kind of just like a yearly checkup for your roof, so we can ascertain the overall health of your protection, or something I think of like when we do a lot of higher end siding jobs. If you're getting a siding where it's LP or Hardy, our maintenance contracts include like all the caulking you have to do with that every so often, and little touch ups and stuff like that. So it may seem relatively minor, but it can go a long way. It can maybe make the difference between you having to replace your roof in sooner rather than later. I won't put a number on it because you can't be certain for
Every
sure.
home is different.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
And obviously, we know that people are trying to be really price conscious, especially in this day and age where we have like inflation and economic uncertainty and all that. If you are able to, and we have tools to help with how pricey things can get, if you buy a higher roof package, so like if you're getting a GAF shingle and you're able to afford their highest package, which is the Golden Pledge, that will offer you the maximum protection in terms of warranty, in terms of the roofing barrier. It uses all of the higher end GAF products to make sure that your roof is like completely protected. So it really does make a difference, we see, if you're just doing like a basic standard roofing package versus something like a Golden Pledge, or on the Owens Corning side, a Platinum roof. So that really does make all the difference.
It really does.
Yes.
That's a good point, Eric.
Trying to do my best, man.
Awesome.
So, we try to keep these a little bit shorter because we know that you, the homeowner, are busy and don't have the time to listen to like a 2-hour podcast. We're not
talking about roofs.
Insurance,
fun stuff.
Yeah, we're not trying to be the Joe Rogan of roofing podcasts here.
Yeah.
We try to just make it mostly about the information that we feel is helpful to you guys.
Right.
Like I said, we'll have an in-depth dive with some insurance experts. Some of our guys are like certified public adjusters. They can go into more depth on the insurance side, so look for that episode later. Frank, before we tune out here, is there any other kind of advice you'd have for a homeowner?
The storms come, it gets scary, and you don't know what's going to happen. Tornadoes rip through. You're worried about your home. It could be a stressful thing. Call your local roofing contractor. We will come out there, assess the damages at no cost. Like Eric said, if you do have missing shingles, you have a hole in your roof from a tree, we're going to tarp it. We're going to get it covered for you ASAP. Our goal is always to bring you peace of mind. We're not trying to bring any more stress. What we're trying to do is come take that stress off of your back and take care of it for you. TRC has been in business for 40 years, And I believe that's number one because they truly care about their customers. And if any problems come along, they take care of those problems, make sure they go away. We never leave a customer with any more additional problems. We come in and take those problems and alleviate them all the way. So our reputation goes a long way. A lot of customers highly recommend us, and I believe that's because of the customer care they receive from TRC. Yeah.
Frank can just be the marketing manager from now on because that was beautiful. I couldn't have said it better myself. You said it, man. I really try to, in everything I put out in terms of social media posts and any kind of marketing you may see from me, I really try to push the peace of mind aspect because the last thing you want to be worrying about is if your house is leaking, if it's sustaining damage. Oftentimes your house is that's your biggest investment.
Correct.
That's the thing you've put the most money into.
Right.
And also your home is where life happens. It's where you're playing with your kids, having dinner around the table, making those memories, right? So I look at it as our job to it's not just providing a roof, it's providing you peace of mind. And really you can't really put a price tag on that. So that was beautifully said. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Before we go, I would really love it, for me personally, this personally affects me and my job, if you would go and check us out on all of our fantastic social medias. You can go over to facebook.com/Total Roofing and Construction. Check us out there. We are on Instagram at Total Roofing. We are on LinkedIn. I think you can just search Total Roofing and Construction as the company and you can find that. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/@TotalRoofing1985. We are on TikTok at Total Roofing. And you can always go over to totalroofingandconstruction.com. We have a lot of great resources on there to answer maybe some questions that you have, additional ways you can get a hold of us, all that fun stuff. And then as for the podcast, we're hopefully going to get this on a little bit more regular basis. I'd like to get out one episode every single month. That'd be super cool. So the podcast will be available by the time this comes out, basically on all the big podcatchers, wherever podcasts are found. So your Spotify's, your Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all those fun ones. And if you have like a preference as to where you like to listen, just reach out and I can put the show
drop a comment.
wherever you want to watch the show or listen to the show, I'll put it there for you. So, but for Frank and I and for Chat TRC, that is going to do it for this episode.
Awesome.
We will catch up with you guys next time.
Give us a call at Total Roofing and Construction. We'll see you out there.